そんな大したことじゃないだろう。
相手は柔道部の主将だぞ。それも男子女子両方だ。怖くはなかったのか？
嫌われるのは慣れてる。
Yeah, that doesn't get old. Well, as some of you may know, I am a very big wagon fan, and even more so an Audi wagon fan. And this last winter, I actually found a really cool wagon on Marketplace, and I want to show you guys. Oh wait, there it is. Right there. So, this thing's pretty cool. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of it, but spin this around here. So basically, this is a B8 S4 Avant Audi. As some of you may know, you can't actually buy these cars in the United States. The last Audi wagon we could buy was a B8 S4 Avant, and growing up, that car was the one I always wanted. And I actually bought one not too long ago, but I also sold it not too long ago because I was pretty underwhelmed by it. And I found this on Marketplace around Christmas time, and I was actually able to purchase it. I'm really happy with it. So we have a B8.5 front end put on this. So headlights, hood, fenders, the front grille, that's all the B8.5 stuff. I put these peelers on myself. It came with some black niche wheels that I didn't like, so I put these on. These are just OEM peelers. But it also has the S4 calipers, rotors, and yeah, so all the S4 brake stuff basically, and then just OEM peelers, which I love. The car is lowered on some adjustable coilovers. It has all the appropriate badging as well. So the front emblem, the sides, and the back. S4 rotors and calipers in the rear. It does have the stock A4 bumper, and then I added an S4 diffuser. I also welded up these exhaust tips. They're definitely sticking out a little more than I would have liked, but that's okay. It also has the S4 door trim, S4 door cards, and we got the S4 bucket seats. And then we also have the rear matching S4 bucket seats, which I am very happy with. Very, very cool. And then most importantly, that sweet, sweet, sweet S4 motor with a nice intake on it. The original color is black. It's currently vinyl wrapped some pretty bizarre red, black, and purple color. It's kind of hard to explain, but when the light, like I have light behind me right now, when the light is shining directly on it, it's black. And then as you walk around, and you kind of get like a side view. So if the light's coming in from here, if you get that side view, that's when it starts changing colors. And then in the sun, I mean, when this thing's in the sun, it's even crazier looking, to be honest with you. It's like a purple red. I don't know if I would have chose this color if I were gonna wrap it, but I do like it. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, which is always fun. And yeah, it's pretty unique. It's not too flashy, but you know, it's already on there. And the previous owner ceramic coated this vinyl, so it's holding up pretty good. So yeah, I did a high flow Amazon special muffler. It's like a single chamber, 3.5 inch exhaust tips in the rear, and then that intake is basically the only mods other than the coilovers as well. So it's still pretty quiet, but the supercharger does make a pretty nice noise. So yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here. For those of you that don't know, basically in order to get one of these cars, you have to take an A4 Avant, a B8 A4 Wagon, and you need to take that body, and then you need to take the guts and the drivetrain from a B8 S4 sedan and combine them together. So, like I said, that B7 chassis, it's like from 2005 to 2008. That was the last S4 wagon you could buy in the States. And all the other wagons after that, we just weren't able to import them, and we weren't able to buy them legally either. So you can't really buy these cars, you know. You either have to build one, or buy one from someone that built one, which is what I did. So basically the story goes on this particular build is the A4 Avant was a 2010, and then the S4 sedan that they used for the swap was a 2012. I think the sedan had around 120K miles on it, and then the wagon has 138K miles on it. So this last Christmas, my girlfriend and I had a trip planned to Southern California. And I do this from time to time, but basically what I did was a few weeks before our trip, I changed my Facebook Marketplace search radius to Southern California, basically outside of LA, just like a big 250-mile radius. And I found this for sale a couple weeks before our trip. And I started messaging the guy. He wanted too much money, in my opinion. Well, I take that back. It wasn't too much money. It was more money than I was willing to spend. And I still messaged him though, just saying, hey, really cool wagon. I've never seen one of these for sale. How'd you do it? I was just like fangirling basically. And so him and I started messaging back and forth, and I just told him if he ever comes down on price that I might be interested, and just to keep me posted. And he was pretty firm, and then a couple weeks went by, and I was flying out in a few days, and I figured I'd message him one last time as a Hail Mary, seeing if he wanted to come down on price at all. And we were actually able to agree on a price, partially because he was having a baby, or his girlfriend was, like Christmas Day, and he really needed the money, or wanted the money, you know, having a kid, I get it. So we actually came to an agreement, and I flew down with cash basically ready to go when I went to Southern California for Christmas. We flew down to LA. We spent one day. I think we went to Disneyland, our first full day there. And then the second day, basically our whole trip was booked up, and this guy, where this car was 2.5 hours away. And I was trying to figure out a way to meet him. He was pretty far north of LA where we were staying. And I hopped on my phone, and Google Maps said to go to a train station, hop on a bus. And for some reason, the only one I could get on was at like 10 or 11 at night. So 10, 11 at night, take an Uber to this bus station in LA, and then told the guy, you know, before I went, like, hey, I can be where you're at like 1:30 in the morning or something crazy like that. And he agreed to meet me, and I was like, okay, I'm going for it, you know, just a couple $1,000 in my pocket. Backpack, that was it. But I really wanted the car, so I think it was worth it. Anyways, 1:30 rolls around. I hop off the bus. He's waiting for me there. Turns out he's a super cool dude. Car seemed to run and drive great. He didn't know much about it. He actually got it in a trade, which was really bizarre. But he had the title, which is all I cared about. And yeah, I gave him the cash, and then I drove it back to LA, got home at like 3, 4 in the morning, and then we went to Universal Studios and Harry Potter the next day. And then the rest of the trip, we were in LA, and I was just driving this thing around, which was so cool. Just my dream car. Well, not really. I take that back. It wasn't really my dream car growing up. The B7 S4 Avant was, because that's the one you could actually buy. I didn't even know people did this. I didn't even know people swapped things around to make a B8 S4 wagon until I stumbled upon this one for sale. So when I saw it, I knew I just had to have it because I'm such a fan of Audi wagons. As our trip was coming to a close for our little LA trip, and I had the car, it was running and driving great, and it was time for Katie to fly home, I had this other Audi that I saw on my Facebook Marketplace search when I was looking around the LA area, and there was a B8.5 sedan, red leather interior, stick shift, 110k miles, rebuilt title, no body damage though. Popped up on my Facebook Marketplace, and I was really interested in buying it. The guy selling it didn't speak English. His ad was completely in Spanish. And basically, when you hit the auto translate button on Facebook to see what his description says, it would translate his ad and say that the motor was locked up, that the motor was locked, right? So that sounds really bad. And if I looked at the ad and translated it, that's what I would get. But along with everyone else, so anyone looking at this guy's ad would hit the auto translate button to see what it says in English, and it would say, you know, motor's locked. However, I had my Spanish-speaking coworker, Luis, shout out to you, Luis. I hopped on the phone with this guy and had Luis talk to him for me. And it turns out the motor was not locked. It was just leaking a little bit of coolant. But because the auto-translate was saying the motor was locked, I guarantee this guy was not getting any calls or messages or anything on his Audi. And basically, he had it posted for $75, and I negotiated, or had my coworker negotiate it down to like $6,000, and it's worth double that easily. And I was gonna buy it, but I wanted to buy this one instead. So, as the LA trip was wrapping up, I called my brother on the phone, and I was like, hey, Joey, there is a insane deal on a B8.5 S4 stick shift with red leather in Vegas, and you should buy it. I gave him the whole story basically that I just told you, and he's like, yeah, that's crazy. I'll buy a plane ticket right now. So as my girlfriend flew home from LAX, I dropped her off first thing in the morning. I hopped in this bad boy and I drove to Vegas and picked Joey up from the airport. From the airport, we went straight to this guy's house to look at it, and as we're driving it, the whole thing is just mint. Super clean inside, super clean outside, and it didn't even leak coolant when we were driving it. It hardly leaked at all. I have no idea. I think the auxiliary water pump was the issue. And so I looked at Joey, and he looked at me, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And he ended up buying it, I think, for $5,500. Such a crazy deal. So anyways, now I'm in this S4 Avant. Joey, my younger brother, is in a S4 sedan, and we make a 17-hour road trip back home. And we drove these cars. I mean, we drove pretty slow because his was overheating a little bit if we went 80 and up. But if we kept it around 70, it seemed to do fine. So we did a 17-hour road trip home with these, B8 S4s, and had absolutely no issues getting home. And at one point, we got caught in a blizzard somewhere in Nevada, slept in the cars because we couldn't get a hotel, motel, everything was closed. We were just in the middle of nowhere, really. And it was so cold at night that we both just idled our cars after driving them for 8 or 9 hours straight. We idled our cars all night with the heat on so we could sleep a little bit. And again, we got caught in a blizzard, so it's not like we wanted to sleep in our cars. We just were kind of out of options. And when you're tired on a road trip, there's nothing you can do. It's so dangerous driving sleepy. There's nothing you can do besides sleep. You just kind of have to succumb at that point. So idled them for 5-6 hours, however long we slept, and then hopped in the driver's seat and then drove another, 6, 7, 8 hours home with no problems. And after that, that's kind of what sold me on these cars, and the V6 supercharged motor that comes in these. That's kind of what sold me on them, was just how reliable that whole trip was. And I couldn't be happier with how these cars did and how this car did particularly. So now I'm just absolutely in love with it. So my overall thoughts on just the B8 platform in general is I am absolutely in love. The way that this car handles and drives is kind of how I wish my B7 S4 Avant handled and drove. This is a heavy car. I believe it weighs around 3,800 pounds. And driving this thing on some twisty roads or freeway on-ramps where you can really get some G-forces and feel the handling, it feels like it weighs 3,000 pounds. It feels so light. And that is a huge compliment for a car when it feels light, because that means it's well balanced, and honestly it makes it easier to drive quicker. So I do want to take this to Pacific Raceway and do some track days with it, but I am going to do a lot of maintenance on it, preventive maintenance, just to be safe. I do have an oil leak right now, and I'll take care of that, so there's no problems there. Yeah, so for the most part, the swap, they did a very good job swapping everything over to this wagon to make it like a fully B8 S4 Avant build. The only thing they didn't really do is basically the sports differential. This does have the sports differential. That was a big reason in my mind as to why it feels light and it handles really well, is because it has that. Essentially, I'm not able to adjust it. There should be a comfort, sport, and a dynamic mode, and I can't adjust the settings on the sports differential. It's always in dynamic mode, which I'm fine with, but it would be cool to adjust it. I'm not able to. Also, because there's adjustable coilovers, the dampening on the shocks is non-adjustable, which is a bummer, but again, doesn't really bother me. And the only things I've really done since I bought it, I've been very busy with work, but the only things I've been able to do are basically swap out the black wheels for some peelers, and then I also peeled off some of the vinyl wrap that was over the chrome. So the chrome around the windows and the chrome roof rails, I kind of peeled that black off to expose, you know, the chrome, and then I swapped out the badges. The badges were blacked out. I put those back to chrome. Okay, there we go. I'm very interested to see what happens when I get a tune on this, because it's only going to get faster. I'll tell you what, I'm madly in love with the B8 platform. Like I said, I did have a B7 S4 Avant, and I was very underwhelmed with it, and I ended up selling it just because, you know, there's an old saying, it's, you know, never meet your idols. Well, us car folk have a similar saying, and it's never drive your idols. And I idolized that B7 S4 Avant like my whole life, really, since like 13 to even now. I still love them, but you know, from 13 to 25, like was one of my top 5 dream cars. And as soon as I bought one, I kind of had driven some really nice and fast cars and newer cars, and it was just really underwhelming. It's just not what I thought it would be. So I ended up selling it. I'm really happy with this one. The way this runs and drives and feels and handles, this is kind of what I thought the B7 S4 I had. This is what I thought it would be like, to be honest with you. It was a little bit like this. But it wasn't, so I sold it. But yeah, very happy with this. I love the way it drives. It feels very light, even though it's not a light car. It feels like it. Yeah, so overall driving impressions. I love the DSG transmission. It shifts very quickly. I love having 7 gears. It seems like there's always torque to give. Whenever you put your foot on it, it will put you back in your seat a decent amount. The car is still stock power, by the way, which I think it's about 350 horse, 350 torque. It feels a lot faster than that, but apparently it's not tuned, according to the guy I bought it from. So it's hard to say, but just for an example here, let's turn this ship around. I mean, it's not the fastest thing on the road, but it's quick. It's quick. And that supercharger noise, I love that sound. I kind of like that the exhaust is pretty quiet, so you can still hear the supercharger and it doesn't get drowned out too much. It's been a great car so far, super reliable. I'm really happy with how it drives. I'm really happy with the reliability. It does have an oil leak right now, big surprise. I plan on fixing that as soon as I get some time off work. Probably gonna put it in full service mode and then just do the catless downpipes, heat exchanger, supercharger pulleys. Just do that all in one go. Along with some maintenance, I'll probably do the PCV valve, water pump, maybe valve cover gaskets, just kind of the works, you know, all the notorious stuff that goes wrong with these motors, which isn't a lot, and the stuff that does go wrong isn't catastrophic. It's not like the biggest deal to fix. I am planning on keeping it for a while, so I just want that reliability and that peace of mind. And most importantly, if I race it at Pacific Raceway, which, I mean, you guys seen that in the C5 video, how intense that can be. Something about seeing a wagon on a racetrack just sounds so cool to me. So I am looking forward to doing that. It should be a very, very fun experience and a very fun video, so. But yeah, so this is how the car sits now. Pretty happy with how it looks. I'm happy with how it drives. But yeah, it's been very reliable. I'm very happy with the with everything, really. That's part of the reason why I haven't really done too much to it yet, is it's just had no problems with it. So I do want to take this to Pacific Raceway, track it, race it. Should be a ton of fun. I do want to do heat exchanger, catless downpipes, probably raise the suspension in the rear, maybe get some nicer tires before I do that. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep enjoying it. But yeah, it's such a cool, unique car. Very rare. Like I said, I had no idea that these were even a thing until I found that Facebook Marketplace ad. So I just wanted to take the time and show it off to you guys. Let me know if you guys have questions. I will be posting this on my Instagram quite a bit, just because I am so madly in love with it. If you guys have any questions, you can hit me up there or in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.